get used to unmuting and muting your microphone. That'll be great if there's some background noise, but we want you to get involved in what we are doing today. So we try to put PowerPoint presentations as much as possible so that there's more interactive participation. You can read as well as get involved in that or see the pictures as well. So we want you to participate more actively as you usually do. So I'll switch back and forth because devotees tend to join later as well. So I'll take care of that. So we'll get started. So today we thought, the scriptures, remind us that we need to remember Krishna all the time as much as possible, however we want to take it. So today is a very, fun way we can remember Lord Krishna in our everyday lives. The frequency of remembering Lord Krishna increases, not just restricted to Sundays when the temples are open or when we are having classes. So we've taken some pictures and headings from various cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam about the pastimes that we all know, so that it's various ways to remember Lord Krishna more frequently, and we will also be able to gravitate towards remembering Lord Krishna, even though we live in this material world as well. And material world is also an energy of Lord Krishna. So it can also help us in triggering our remembrance of Lord Krishna. And we are strictly following the instructions of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, because in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches us that how can we remember him through various material things, right? So he says, I'm the sun, I'm the moon, and so on and so forth, right? I'm the mountain. So Lord Krishna gives us many, many ways for us to remember him: ocean, wind, sun, moon, etc. Right? So we will follow the same process in trying to understand, or more so try to remember Lord Krishna more frequently in whatever we are doing on a daily basis. I put this presentation together first about 6 years ago, and then I update it periodically, very frequently, with more pictures, more examples, because the whole intent of the scriptures is for us to read it over and over. So hopefully you will all find it useful as we go through this presentation. So again, get used to muting and unmuting yourself so that the background noise is blocked off, but we want you to participate and also get to practice speed reading. As I usually say, I have more than what we need in the presentation so that you can read it if you are a speed reader, but I will go through the summary of it, and we want you to participate in it. That's the intent. My intent is always for everybody to participate, not one-way traffic. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance to him and to all the members of the Shri Parampara. Vancha kalpatarvyasya kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are just like desire trees, fulfilling the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Hare Krishna. So again, we thank you for joining today's session and also on all the weekly sessions. So that's the spiritual recharging of our batteries. Whenever we attend sessions, when we hear about Lord Krishna, we're charging our batteries. Every class is unique and every presentation is unique in its own way, and it'll help us remember Krishna in many different ways as well. So for those of you who've joined us late, thank you for joining. So please mute yourself and unmute yourself as you are reading few things as well. Okay, so I will be shifting back and forth to allow people inside. We always talk about Leela. So Leela in Sanskrit means it's a play or a sport or pastimes, right? So we usually say pastimes. So that's a Leela. You can also say it's a sport, because whatever Krishna does, he does it for his own pleasure and nobody can compel him to do what he's doing. Sometimes his pleasure includes protecting the devotees, killing the demons, re-establishing the dharma through that, or simply giving his devotees bliss in his various pastimes. And in the following slides, various leelas of the Lord are extracted from Srimad Bhagavatam. I've connected it with appropriate painting and pictures, and also in some cases mapped it to the visual depiction of common occurrences in our day-to-day activities. Okay, so so that we can jumpstart, or that can serve as a trigger for us to remember Lord Krishna. So you'll find it very unique and very easy way for us to remember Lord Krishna, because we want to know how can we always remember Lord Krishna. So hopefully, even if you're 1% more in remembering Krishna after this presentation, it's a success. Okay, so there are various triggers from these material activities as well that will help us remember Lord Krishna, and the only intent is to dovetail everything we see, even in normal day-to-day activities, to Krishna consciousness. So in a way, this is transferring mundane to the divine and secular to spiritual. Okay, so that's the intent of that. Okay, so through this presentation, we will visualize the glorious events that happened over 5,000 years ago or earlier, because I've extracted some of the pastimes from before as well. And the sporting pastimes not only pleases our senses, but of course it purifies our hearts and minds. That's what the scripture says. And we will forget all the problems in our day-to-day life when we are engrossed in these beautiful pictures and paintings and pastimes. So if you have some background noise, I kindly request you to mute it, and then please unmute it when you are reading it. And we want you to be speed readers, because I have quite a few slides, so we can pack in a lot of wonderful material. At the end of today's presentation, we'll be enriched with the pastimes of the Lord and remembering the Lord. Okay? So we will use more than our senses. Usually I love to present in a multimedia format, so that we can use not just our eyes, we'll use our ears, we'll use our tongues for reading certain things, and of course we will use our mind. Mind is the leader of all the senses, to go back in time and spiritualize all the sense and sense organs as well. We will remember Lord Krishna through these activities, and we'll get a first-hand view of all the pastimes of the Lord that we have chosen today. And the description of these pastimes are very detailed in Srimad Bhagavatam, but it's very easy for us to remember and rejoice as well. So pictures are worth 1,000 words, so we've added as many pictures as possible, so that you're able to connect with the pastimes of the Lord as well.
Yeah.
So I kindly request you to mute yourself if it's possible. If you're on the phone, you can click the mute button if there is some background noise. Okay, so the important part is I'm going to read certain critical parts or important parts of certain verses, because we may not have time to read through all those verses. But again, this and a couple of slides are put as a precursor for what we are going to look at. What does the scripture say about remembrance of Lord Krishna? Right. So this is from the famous verse of Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam. In that particular verse, 9 forms of devotional service. Of course, remembering is one of the 9 forms of devotional services as well, and it are accepted as pure devotional service. So kindly I request the devotees, if you are hearing this, please mute yourself. If there is background noise, we're still hearing
all week it's ruffles and tuxedos Super 6. I don't really care about the ruffles and tuxedos when we do all week. Subject.
Okay, I'm muting certain devotees' background noise as well. Okay. So as I mentioned, devotees are joining in installments after 11. I have to go back and forth from the presentation because we don't have the secondary person to co-host it. So kindly bear with me as there is delay as devotees are joining. And a few of the verses from Nectar of Devotion. It's a beautiful chapter, chapter 10 from Nectar of Devotion. I'm sorry, Mother, Sashi, Mother, I have to mute yourself. I have to mute your phone. It's a lot of background noise. Okay, please.
You're gonna mute me, right?
Okay, so in Padma Puran, it says that, if we are remembering Lord Krishna, we surely become freed from the material contamination. In the Vishnu Puran, it says when we are simply remembering Lord Krishna, we are eligible for all kinds of auspiciousness. We don't want miseries, especially during this COVID times. There are many challenging situations. So it is said that just by remembering Lord Krishna through his various pastimes and activities, we are eligible for all kinds of auspiciousness. And also, just by remembering Lord Krishna, we are freed from sinful activities as well. So there is a lot of what's in it for all of us when we remember Lord Krishna from spiritual perspective. Few more verses, apavitra pavitra va sarvavastam gatopi va, for those of you who've already gotten initiated, this is a very critical mantra from Garuda Puran that is also quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It says, whether pure or impure or pass through all conditions of material life or not, if one remembers, again the key word is remember, one remembers lotus-like Krishna, he becomes externally and internally clean. And Mukha Kavitva Kareyan Sabara Smaran, in that verse it says, if you remember Pancha Tattva, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasti Gaura Bhakta. Again, the key word is remember. If you remember them, even it is said that dumb can become a poet, lame can cross the mountains, blind man can see the stars, etc. So we all have hope because we are just going to remember Lord Krishna, which will be easier after today's session, hopefully. Okay. So, and Padma Puran as well, we have this famous verse, Smartaiva Satatam Vishnur Vismartavya Najapishi. So Krishna should always be remembered and never be forgotten. And Katanchana Smriti Yashmin Juskaram Subharam. In this it says things that are very, very difficult to execute, but somehow or the other, if you simply remember Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it becomes very easy. On the flip side, if we forget to remember Lord Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even the simple things become very difficult. So many verses from the scripture. So few more. Machitta Sarva Durgani 18.58 says, you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of material life. So if we seem to be having a lot of obstacles in our even physical, in our material life, right? That means we are not thinking of Lord Krishna enough, because this is the guarantee that is giving in Bhagavad Gita 18.58. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life, right? And Antakale Chamame, we always think of Lord Krishna. At the time of death, when we remember Lord Krishna, we go back home. So how can we do that? We don't know when we are going to die. So when we are able to remember Lord Krishna most of the other times, then if any time death comes, then we are thinking of Lord Krishna as well. Okay, and King Kulashekar Alvar's famous prayer is Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Pancharantam. So in that it says, how can I think of Lord Krishna at the time of death? Because I don't know when it's going to come, and there'll be mucus, bile, air, and everything. So at this moment, let my royal swan of my mind enter into the tangled stems of the lotus of your feet. So he wants to think about Lord Krishna now and not later on. And most important verse is 8.7 for all of us. All of us are grahasthas that we see here. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmaritecha. So think of me, that means remember me, but at the same time perform your duty as a doctor, as a housewife, etc. Manmana bhav mad bhakto, almost repeated twice. Again, the key is think of Lord Krishna, remembering Lord Krishna or thinking of Lord Krishna. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada also teaches us that mental concentration upon a particular pastime of the Lord in particular circumstances is also called as a remembrance. Okay, and this is an humble attempt to remember Lord Krishna in whatever circumstances that we are in, and these will serve as a trigger for us to springboard from material to the spiritual plane, and we'll be able to feel and see the presence of Lord in all circumstances, and our mind will be able to gravitate from ordinary to extraordinary through these frequent presentations that we can have about Lord Krishna, and our mind will be dovetailed into thinking of Lord Krishna as well. In Bhagavad Gita 6.17, I'm just giving a precursor here, because Krishna talks about he who is regulated in the habits of eating, sleeping. What I've highlighted is recreation, right? So, what is legal, what is authorized to keep our body and mind together, because body is the temple of the soul. So if we have to keep it fit, yeah, we know we are not the body, but without the body, you'll not be able to walk to the temple, you'll not be able to do arati, your hands won't function. So we got to do our due diligence in keeping the body fit enough, not that decorating or beautifying, that's not what we're saying, but we need, just imagine if the body and mind are not working, even though they're material in nature, then we can't go to the temple, we can't think of the Lord, we can't perform spiritual activities as well. So we read some of the examples from the Srimad Bhagavatam. There was a playground which was the peak of Mandara mountain that the demigods used to play in, and that was stolen by Narakasura. So they were playing, right? So a little bit of recreation, legal recreation is what we read from the scriptures. So Lord Krishna goes to Raktoshipura, and he brings back the mountains and gives it back to the demigods as well. And we know the pastime of Lord Brahma hearing Gandharva's musical performance, and also Lord Krishna's daily activities in Dwaraka includes hearing musical performance, magic shows, etc. Okay, so this is not a presentation to encourage anybody to deliberately indulge in some material activities, as an excuse, but this will help us remember Lord Krishna even in mundane circumstances. So I hope we set the stage nicely for us to get into this mood and look at the triggers that can help remember Lord Krishna. Okay? So the foundation for this presentation, or the inspiration for this presentation, is from the 67th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the pastime of Dvivida. We covered that in our Srimad Bhagavatam class a few months ago, where this angry gorilla ape was throwing massive stones, you can say big boulders, almost like a mountain, was hurling at Lord Balarama, and Lord Balaram with his club was hitting the sort of big round balls or rocks and smashing them to pieces. And what I've underlined is what Srila Prabhupada has given in his purport. Even today, there are many sports wherein people enjoy striking the ball or similar object with a stick or a bat. The sporting propensity exists originally in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who playfully pulverized the deadly boulders hurled at him by powerful Dvivida. So we're following the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, where we are looking at different material things that Lord Krishna himself has pointed out for us to remember, knowing the unknown through the known, as well as even if there are some non-spiritual activities, it could be a sporting activity. From there, how can we think of Lord Krishna? So cricket and baseball, it looks like it has an origin in Balarama smashing those rocks into pieces, according to Srila Prabhupada here. Okay? So that's an example. So even when when somebody is watching it, when we look at something that is going on, if it could be a baseball, it could be cricket, then our remembrance is, we remember the pastime of Balaram pulverizing the huge rocks thrown by gorilla. Right? So it's not to say that Howard or Dhoni here in this picture is equal to anybody very powerful, but we'll be able to use this as a trigger to remember the pastimes of the Lord. Okay? And also, it goes on in the same chapter. It says Balaram likes to throw rocks as well in return, right? So you can think of it in terms of bowling in cricket or pitching in baseball, right? So when we see this as well, even though it's mundane and non-spiritual, does not matter. We will be able to use this as a trigger to remember Lord Krishna. So let's get into more pastimes, right? So the intent is for us to remember Krishna either directly through these pastimes or indirectly as a springboard from what we see in the material life in our day-to-day activities and remember Krishna. So the whole intent is to remember Krishna. So this picture should be very familiar to all of you. This is a very famous pastime very early in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Trinavarta is a whirlwind demon, where he carried Lord Krishna to great heights, and Krishna was enjoying this pastime. And it is said that this was Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, Krishna's blissful transcendental pleasure. Right? So Krishna likes to go up and come down like that, and based on what Srila Prabhupada has instructed us in the slides that we saw in the couple of slides ago, where our propensity to go up and down, you can think of it in Wonderland as well, right? So sometimes we have to take our children, our friends, etc., and we see some pictures as well. So when we think of Wonderland or those beautiful rides that people like to go, you can always think of this particular pastime of Trinavarta and Lord Krishna. So our excitement in going on these rides is also part and parcel. We are infinitesimal, Lord is infinite, but again, these are some sort of triggers, even in the material life, in neutral or non-spiritual activities that we can think of Lord Krishna. So you see a picture, what you see on the right-hand side, automatically our mind will gravitate towards many pastimes that are related to this, but one slam dunk pastime is Trinavarta, where he took Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna really enjoyed when he was taken to great heights. And then, of course, he just gently strangled him with his arm, and then the demon died, and then he came crashing down. So Remembrance of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram through their sporting activities, right? So we have many more of these slides for us to remember Lord Krishna in almost all circumstances that we can see around us. So now Lord Krishna and Balaram as babies, I put references everywhere. I know Om Verma Prabhu is also there in this call, and he also always likes references.
Yes,
It takes,
Prabhu.
thank you,
Yes.
Prabhu, for joining. I know you like references, so I have all the references for your liking. So these are all for SP stands for Srimad Bhagavatam, and of course 10 is canto, and 8 is chapter, and 24 is the verse, right? So Lord Krishna and Balaram as babies would catch the ends of the calf's tails, and the calf will drag them here and there. Beautiful picture, and this was their plaything. Now, if we don't remember this, but when we connect the material thing to the spiritual thing, then we will be able to remember this particular pastimes of Lord Krishna very well. So this is, you can see here, this is the water skating that, human beings like to do, right? And, excitement in going on this water skating. So we're also part and parcel of Lord Krishna. So when we see a water skating, it's similar to what you can see what Krishna likes to do as well. So okay, it's not a equivalent, it's not we are justifying that what we should be doing through these neutral activities or mundane activities, but the intent is for us to remember the Lord even through mundane activities, right? So again, this was from 2015, the very nice video of this water skating. So here, okay, so another sporting activity of Lord Krishna is he likes to fight with ferocious bulls, right? At least there are two pastimes that we can think. So whenever we see a bull, we can think of these two pastimes of Lord Krishna. One is this Aristasura pastime that you see on the left side of the screen. I think it's 1036. And then you have later on in the 10th canto, how Lord Krishna tamed these ferocious 7 bulls to marry Nagnajiti, right? So he's the supreme matador, and if you go to European country, especially Spain, I periodically go to Madrid or Barcelona or Valencia, and this is bullfighting is very common in that part of the world, right? So it's all coming. So even if you're seeing some pictures, so automatically our mind will trigger to these Aristasura pastimes, to this pastime where Lord Krishna tamed the 7 bulls as well. Now, Krishna and Balaram likes to jump from top of the mountain, and they did that. And we know from the 52nd chapter, where 2 of them suddenly jumped from this burning mountain, which was very tall. It is at 11 yojanas. If you calculate it, it's a very tall mountain. And they jumped into the floor, to the ground. And the skydiving, you can think of it, human beings, interest in skydiving is coming from this, based on what Prabhupada has taught us, right? So when you think of the skydiving, or when you see a picture of skydiving, automatically that can serve as a trigger, even though it's material, mundane. You can think of Lord Krishna and Balaram jumping from this very tall mountain. Even high jump, you can say you go up and come down. So these are all triggers that we can think of Lord Krishna. Okay. Lord Krishna and Balaram like to wrestle. So the title of today's class is Remembrance of Lord Krishna and Balaram through their sporting activities. We already defined what is Leela, which is sporting activities of the Lord or pastimes of the Lord. So they were fighting with Kamsa and Mushtika, etc., expertly displaying numerous wrestling techniques. Right? So you may be able to, periodically see some Olympic Games wrestlers or WWF. So automatically we can, how can we not think of Lord Krishna's pastime with Kamsa, Balaram's pastime with Mushtika and other fighters as well. So again, very easy for us to gravitate from material to spiritual through these, mundane activities as well, because we are connecting it to the Supreme. He likes to lift weight on his shoulder, right? So we see when they were playing the games, anybody who's defeated, they carry other person on their shoulder. So on a daily basis, frequent material basis, everyday life, we see weightlifting as well, right? So when somebody is lifting weight on the shoulder, yeah, we can think of how, not literally in front, but then when they keep it on the shoulder, we can think of this pastime, right? So we're just providing some hints, okay? So this is not something that is set in stone. We're just giving some guidance for you to even think through many more of these activities of Lord Krishna, and connecting them with what you see around you in your own house, in your day-to-day activities as well. We're just showing the pathway for you to delve deeper into it and have these triggers in your life that will help you remember Lord Krishna and his pastimes. Lord Krishna likes to lift weight on his back. Kurma Avatar, 8th canto, we know this, right? The whole Mount Mandara, which is supposed to be made of gold. Gold is heavier than stone, so it goes down, and the whole mountain was going down. One side was Devatas and Asuras, and Lord expanded in the form of this tortoise, and then he lifted this whole of this Mandara mountain. And in our day-to-day activities, we see little children carrying some, heavy bag with books on their back, or some, women carrying their children in their back as well. So automatically we can gravitate towards thinking of Lord Krishna. This could be one of the examples of thinking of Lord Krishna as the Kurma Avatar. Okay, so, and Lord Krishna likes to lift heavy objects. So we are all in this, in the last 3-4 slides on Lord Krishna lifting something heavy. I put that in the bracket heavy because nothing is heavy for Lord Krishna. But from our standpoint, of course, we can't even lift a table for 7 seconds, what to speak of mountain for 7 days, right? Having said this, Lord Krishna, who's Vishnu himself, picked Govardhan with his one hand, and we see people carrying some weight, especially when they are going on a trip, etc. So all that. Prabhus, are you able to hear me a little louder? I got a message to speak a little louder. Rajesh Prabhu,
You're
are you able
okay,
to hear me?
Prabhu.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. Your voice is perfectly okay with me at my side.
Okay, I'll try to raise my voice a little bit more because there are some devotees who can't hear that very well. Okay, so again, some of the triggers that you see on the right-hand side of the screen is that, we can think of many normal day-to-day activities, somebody lifting a heavy weight. So of course we can help them if we have to, right? So all that goes without saying, but we can, in our mind, we can think of Lord Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill. Again, as I said, these are not set in stone. These are not the only sort of circumstances that we can think of Lord, but we are just trying to connect. As I said, I started putting this 6 years ago, but then it's evolved more and more as we find more pictures relevant to these pastimes, so that we can think of Lord Krishna through our day-to-day activities as well. Another example is Lord Balaram punches demons, right? So many of these pastimes are there where Lord Balaram punches various demons, and here, this is an example of Dvivida pastime. So we saw in the Dvivida pastime, a lot of sporting activity connection can be made, whereas bowling and pitching, and then sixer and home run as well. And also you can think of boxing, right? So when we see a picture of some boxer or something that is somebody practicing boxing, you can think of this. Yeah, Balaram punched these Dvivida, the demon, and then that's the end of this Dvivida's pastime, right? So we can connect this material to the spiritual as well. Now, catch and throw. So this is a very famous pastime from the 10th canto, where Krishna and Balaram, one after the other, they were catching the hind legs of Dhenukasura, as well as the other donkey demons, you can say, or ass demons. They were catching the hind legs and they were whirling them and throwing them, right? And all these trees were knocked down because of that, and the fruits fell down, which was the original intent of these gopas who wanted that fruits, right? So catch and throw. Can you think of any mundane or normal sports where this happens? One such example is hammer throw. So for those of you who may follow some sports, hammer throw is a sport where there is some attachment to a very heavy object, and then they go around, swirl it, and then let it go. It goes so far away. It's an Olympic sport as well, right? So similarly, Lord Krishna and Balaram were catching the hind legs, and they were letting go of this ass demon and his friends as well, right? So again, a nice little connection for us to think of Lord Krishna Even when somebody is watching TV, you're just in the beginning stages of your Krishna consciousness. But after today's session, then you can think of, I think there was a past time where Lord Krishna and Balarama were catching some sort of ass demon and they were whirling and throwing it. So that means we're thinking of Lord Krishna and we get purified because of that. Fun activities, complaining to Mother Yasoda, right? So maybe I'm going to get somebody to read this. Maybe Rajesh Prabhu, would you be read it? Can you read it?
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, Text 29. Fun activities of Lord Krishna. Gopis complaining to Mother Yashoda. Our dear friend Yashoda, your son sometimes comes to our houses before the milking of the cows and releases the calves. And when the master of the house becomes angry, your son merrily smiles. Sometimes he devises some process by which he steals palatable curd, butter, and milk, which he then eats and drinks. When the monkeys assemble, he divides it with them. And when the monkeys have their bellies so full that they won't take more, he breaks the pots. Sometimes, if he gets no opportunity to steal butter or milk from a house, he will be angry at the householders, and for his revenge, he will agitate the small children by pinching them. Then, when the children begin crying, Krishna will go away.
Beautiful, thank you. So you can see the three baby pictures right at the bottom, especially the bottom left picture. You can think of Krishna slowly, gently pinching the little baby and then going away, right? Because he's upset that he didn't get the butter or milk from the house. So these are very purifying, beautiful descriptions by Vyasadeva that is, of course, made known to us by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada through this beautiful translation and the purport as well, right? So when we just think of this, right, we are visualizing what had happened several thousand years ago, and we get purified as well. So some pictures for us, you see this, pictures, and then you'll be able to connect it to the spiritual activities of Lord Krishna. So thank you, Prabhu, for reading that. So maybe we can get someone else. What I'm going to read as it is your name. So Bruno Prabhu, can you read this if you can?
Yes, I can. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.11.39 to 40. Fun activities of Lord. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram will play on their flutes. Sometimes they will throw ropes and stones, device for getting fruits from the trees. Sometimes they will throw only stones, and sometimes their ankle bells tingling. They will play football with fruits like bale and malaki. Sometimes they will cover themselves with blankets and imitate cows and bulls and fight with one another, roaring loudly. And sometimes they will imitate the voices of animals. In this way, they enjoy sporting exactly like two ordinary human children.
Thank you, Prabhu. So it's beautiful description of the day-to-day activities of Lord Krishna. Of course, all this is in Vrindavan, right? So Lord Krishna and Balaram spent about 11 and a half years, 10 and a half to 11 and a half years in Vrindavan area. He appeared in Mathura, and of course he was transported to Vrindavan, which is not far from there. And then after that, 18 years Lord Krishna spent in Mathura, and then of course 96 years in Dwaraka as well. But these are fascinating pastimes. Majority of these beautiful pastimes took place in that space of 11 years. So this also, because about 39 to 40 chapters in the 10th canto deals with Lord Krishna's appearance in Mathura, and then his pastimes in Vrindavan, Gokul area. And then after, I think, 41st chapter, that's when Lord Krishna goes to Mathura. He's taken by Akrura, Lord Krishna and Balaram taken by Akrura to go to Mathura. Right? So these are beautiful, fun activities of the Lord. So, right now, some of you will be hearing about all these Copa America soccer finals yesterday. Like Brazil versus Argentina, and today there is Euro Cup I mean, when we just even hear that, so we can think of Lord Krishna, because here it says Lord Krishna plays football. These are actual verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so they would play football with fruits like bale and amalaki. So I'm assuming these fruits are round in shape, so it rolls as well, right? So even if you're thinking in terms of, somebody tells you, or you periodically see this, you can think of Lord Krishna, right? So that's and then you see the picture, black and white picture of a boy with actually you can see that it actually you swirl it around and then you let it go, and then that stone that is tied to a rope will hit the fruits, and then the fruits from the tree will fall down. Okay, so can we get some Mataji to read this? Anybody? We don't have much time, so please
Okay,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Somebody was reading?
Others,
Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
go ahead. Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 11, 59, 10, 14, 61. Fun activities of Lord Krishna. Exact same verse repeated twice.
Yeah, in Srimad Bhagavatam. So very few verses. There are 3 or 4 verses that are repeated exactly as it is in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is one of those verses. I think, Rajesh, we spoke about it a few months ago with regard to Nama Pankaja Nabhaya Nama Pankaja Maline verse. This is another verse that is exactly repeated. Go ahead, read it.
Yes, Prabhu. In this way, Krishna and Balaram passed their childhood age in Vrajabhumi by engaging in activities of childish play such as playing hide and seek, constructing a make-believe bridge on the ocean, jumping here and there like monkeys.
Thank you. So again, these pictures are there which corresponds to that. These pictures are, of course, one picture is about, a couple of pictures are actual paintings of Lord Krishna doing these activities that are described in this verse, but many others are child, like our children do this, right? They put a plank of wood between two sort of shores, you can say, and then they make a bridge like that, right? And you see this little baby in the guise of a monkey. They were jumping here and there like monkeys, etc. So just visualize this and we get purified, right? So beautiful, beautiful descriptions of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Okay. Stealing the lunch bag, right? So they used to steal lunch, one another's lunch bag, and they'll throw that lunch bag far away. So I guess it's closed nicely so that it doesn't fall off, the contents don't fall off. But this is another activities that they were doing. So you can visualize, when the children are young, especially less than 10 years old, they play these type of games, right? So they take another person's lunch and they hide it, or they pass it to his friend so that this hungry boy cannot get it. So these were some of these actual games that Lord Krishna was playing. These are the sporting activities of Lord Krishna and Balaram. Okay, so can we get Mother Dwaraka to read this?
Okay, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 12, 6. Catching games. Sometimes Krishna would go to a somewhat distant place to see the beauty of the forest. Then all the other boys would run to accompany him, each one saying, I shall be the first to run and catch Krishna. I shall touch Krishna first. In this way, they enjoy life by repeatedly touching Krishna.
Thank you. So they like to play catching games like normal children would do. Lord Krishna likes to taste others' lunch. So maybe can we get Nitai Prabhu to read this? Or Kishore Mane Prabhu? If you can unmute yourself and read it. Mahendra Bhagavat Prabhu, anyone?
All the cowherd boys enjoy their lunch with Krishna, showing the different taste of different varieties of preparation they had brought from home. Tasting one another preparation, they begin to laugh and make one another laugh.
Yeah, so you can see, in our day-to-day activities as well at work or in school or in college, they share their food that they bring, right? So automatically we can think of Lord Krishna's specific pastimes of tasting each other's lunch as well. Thank you, Prabhu, for reading that. This is a nice verse. Anybody is unmuted? Dear Nitai Prabhu or Kishore Mane Prabhu?
It's only offerings of Jagya, but to exhibit is exhibit. Oh, I had to shrink it. I can see only the portion of it.
Okay, so maybe we can get someone else. Pitambara Das is there?
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, Srimad Bhagavatam
Yeah.
10.13.11. Krishna is Yagnik book. That is, he eats only offerings of Yagna. But to exhibit his childhood pastimes, he now sat with his flute tucked between his waist and his tight cloth on his right side, and with his horn bugle and cow driving stick on his left, holding in his hand a very nice preparation of yogurt and rice, with pieces of suitable fruit between his fingers. He sat like the wall of a lotus flower, looking forward toward all his friends, personally joking with them and creating jubilant laughter among them as he ate. At that time, the denizens of heaven were watching, struck with wonder at how the personality of Godhead, who eats only in yagna, was now eating with his friends in the forest.
Beautiful. So very, very beautiful description of how Krishna was eating. You know, like the key is what you see in the next page. Krishna likes to eat yogurt and rice, as you saw in the previous page, right? So as you can see here, yogurt and rice. So very nice preparation of yogurt and rice. So that can be one of the offerings that you can always offer. I mean, of course, there's red chilies there. You can avoid whatever you think it's not conducive, but mixing of yogurt and rice, that's what Krishna likes. So very nice description. So even when we are eating, of course, we can think of Lord Krishna, right? So we chant our prayers, Harira Vidyajal, etc. And then we can always, even when somebody is eating something, Krishna ate yogurt and rice, right? With some fruits in between his fingers as well. Okay, so it's a pretty long pastime, so I'm going to take the key words from here. So sometimes the honeybees in Vrindavan became so mad with ecstasy that they closed their eyes and began to sing. So here he was moving along the forest path with his boyfriends and Baladev, and they would respond to the bees by imitating their singing with their friends, right? And they would be imitating the chattering of a parrot. You see, all these pictures are relevant to the description, right? Imitating the dancing of the peacock. Can you see the third picture? It looks like a peacock where Lord Krishna is stretching his left leg down and it's imitating the peacock. And sometimes he would call out with great affection the names of the animals. So whatever I've underlined, we have some pictures. And for those of you who were in our Narakasura pastime class that we covered, if you remember, finally when Lord Krishna home delivered like a FedEx person, the earring of Aditi, the umbrella of Varuna, as well as this top peak of Maniparvata, the playground of the demigods, home delivered to Indra. And then he said, I want to take the Parijata tree. Indra, again, of course, Indra being Indra, he refused. And then there was a fight. And then Krishna finally uprooted the Parijata tree, kept it on Garuda. Satyabhama was also with him. And then they came back to Dwarka. So, and it is said in the beautiful description in Srimad Bhagavatam that because the intoxicating perfume, fragrance, I would say, of these Parijata flowers, these bees followed these Parijata trees and they came to earth. Okay. So next time when you see a bee, we have to give the respect because bees are not from this earth. Initially, they had come from the Indra Loka. So they are great personalities, right? So, so that's a nice little example of how Krishna was actually imitating the singing of the bee and imitating the chattering of a parrot, dancing of the peacock. So whenever we think of a peacock or a parrot or even any bird, we can think of Lord Krishna's pastime. Bee, of course, we can think of Lord Krishna. And whenever we see a cow, even in a picture, we can think of Lord Krishna. Okay, Lord Krishna likes to imitate. So maybe can we get someone else who's unmuted who didn't read it? Can you read it?
Can I?
Please.
Can I? Srimad Bhagavatam 10.15.13. Lord Krishna likes to imitate. Sometimes he would cry out in imitation of birds, such as the kakora
Chakras, Kraushas,
Chas, Chakravas,
Kraus,
Bharadwajas,
Chakravas, Bharadwajas, and peacocks. And sometimes he would run away with the smaller animals in mock fear of lions and tigers.
Yeah, thank you. So again, even when we see a little boy, thank you. Even when we see a little boy taking his dog for a walk, we can think of how Lord Krishna was running away with the smaller animals in the mock fear of a lion or tiger chasing him, right? And then would cry out like with the imitation of birds, right? So when we see a bird chirping, right, it could be big bird, small bird, we can think of Lord Krishna's pastimes, right? So the whole intent of what we're doing today is taking various pastimes, beautiful descriptions of Lord Krishna's actual pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, and remembering that, and also adding some mundane or non-spiritual pictures that we see in our day-to-day activities. It's very neutral. It's not negative. These are neutral activities. When we are driving, we see a bird chirping, etc. Our mind can think. You still keep our eyes focused on the road when you're driving, but our mind can gravitate towards these pastimes that Krishna enacted. Can anyone else read this as well? Ghanshyam Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.15.16. Lord Krishna liked to rest at the base of trees after playing. Sometimes Lord Krishna grew tired from fighting and lay down at the base of a tree, resting upon a bed made of soft twigs and buds, and using the lap of the cowherd friends as his pillow.
Yeah, beautiful picture that describe, where we can visualize this description of Krishna's activities, right? And what we are trying to say is, yeah, we also see, if you take your children to African lion safari or to the zoo, many times you see the animals lying down and sleeping, at the base of the tree, or even, people resting in some parks at the base of the tree. Instead of saying, these guys are lazy guys, they have nothing to do, we can always think positively and think, oh, he's making me remember Lord Krishna, because Lord Krishna's pastime is after he was tired from fighting and he laid down at the base of the tree, resting upon the soft twigs, right? So it can always help us trigger. So nothing is going wasted, right? So anything that we see will be able to help us remind us of Lord Krishna. Bhakti Vinod Prabhu, are you there? Are you on your phone? Can you read this by any chance?
SB 1080-90, Lord Krishna likes to decorate himself and dance. Decorated themselves with newly grown leaves along with pick up feathers, garland, clusters of flower buds, and colored minerals. Balarama, Krishna, and a cowherd friend danced, wrestled, and sang.
Beautiful. So, when we dance, especially Om Varma tries to dance, pulling in more people when the temple is open on Sundays, we are dancing for Krishna. It's not like we're auditioning to become a greatest dancer for some TV program or something like that. It's one-on-one. We are just dancing for Lord Krishna, right? So we don't have to be a great dancer. Again, he's Bhavagrahi Janardana. He's not looking at what we are offering, but what is the mood and the love and the devotion within the offering. So this is also an offering. And when all these beautiful decorations are made, even tilak and everything else, and when we dance, it is an offering for Lord Krishna. So when we see devotees, we can always remember Lord Krishna's pastimes, who is decorating himself and dancing as well. So it's not like we are only dancing. Lord Krishna likes to dance as well. Anyone else would like to read? Who did read? Hema or Kishore Mane, Mahendra Bhagat?
Srimad Bhagavatam 10.18.10. Lord Krishna likes to dance when other musical instruments are being played. As Krishna danced, some of the boys accompanied him by singing and others by playing flutes, hands, cymbals, and buffalo horns, while still others praised his dancing.
Beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu. So as you can see in the actual picture on the left-hand side is describing the words that is there in Srimad Bhagavatam 18th chapter. And then what Srila Prabhupada has instituted is similar, right? Like singing and then playing musical instruments like mridanga and kartal and other instruments as well. So when we are in the midst of a kirtan, or when you're seeing some kirtan going on, even in a video of some Rath Yatra that has taken place in the past, you can always remember Lord Krishna. That by itself is purifying, because we are hearing the names of the Lord, we are seeing the devotees. But as an additional benefit, we can think of this pastimes of the Lord, where Lord Krishna actually did this, and that's what Srila Prabhupada has taught us to do. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? I'm not going to pull names, call out names. Anyone else? Because when you read this, you are teaching us this pastime, because we are extracting. It's almost like a pin in a haystack, right? Like a needle in a haystack, right? So you're pulling this by reading this for us. So please take this as an opportunity to read this for us. Don't hesitate.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:18-12. Lord Krishna likes to pull other boys' hair. Krishna and Balaram plays with their cowherd boyfriend by wheeling about, leaping, hurling, slapping, and fighting. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram will pull the hairs of the boys on the boys' heads.
Wonderful. Again, this is not a justification where we teach our sons or daughters to pull the hairs of others, but if we see something like this, even a picture like this, that will help us remember Lord Krishna did the same, right? So thinking about Lord Krishna is purifying. All right. So let's quickly fasten the seatbelts. We have a few more minutes, about 10 minutes. Anybody would like to go again? Second round, if you already read.
Bhagavatam 10, 18, 15. Lord Krishna like to jump like a frog and ride in swing. They would sometimes jump around like frog, sometimes play various jokes, sometimes ride in swing, and sometimes imitate monarchs.
Monarchs are like kings, right? But what I've underlined is a ride in swing. So what you see on the left-hand side is Lord Krishna and Balaram, and all of them are riding on the swing. And on the right-hand side, we see a lot of, people have got swings in their house. There are some sort of swings they make in parks, etc. So when you see them, let's not think, oh, they're wasting their time. Let's take it constructively. Okay, they're helping me remember Lord Krishna, okay? Because Lord Krishna likes to ride in swings. Okay, next person, please.
In this way, Krishna and Balaram played all sorts of well-known games as they wandered among the rivers, hills, valleys, bushes, trees, and lakes of Vrindavan.
Beautiful, thank you. So, Mother, can you continue to read this? Pushma,
Yes.
Mother.
After the wedding, a group of ignorant kings, headed by the king in the Kalinga, told Rukmini, you should defeat.
No, Rukmi, not Rukmini.
Or Rukmi. You should defeat Balaram at dice. He is not expert at dice, O king, but still he is quite addicted to it. Thus advised, Rukmi challenged Balaram and began to gamble match with him.
So it's great. So Rukmi is the brother of Rukmini, right? Krishna teaches us in Bhagavad Gita 10.36, I am also the gambling of cheat. So if somebody refers, you're there, two of them are talking about Las Vegas, this no problem. They're helping you, not that they are pulling you towards gambling or anything like that, but that should jumpstart our mind. Okay, yeah, there was this great pastime of Balaram playing this gambling match because to put an end to Rukmi, right? So, and the other kings as well. So this jumpstarts our mind on that. Okay. Anyone else? Rajesh Prabhu again.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 61, Text 37. Lord Balaram likes to knock the teeth.
Oh, sorry.
Lord Balaram likes to knock the teeth out of miscreants. The king of Kalinga, who had laughed at Lord Balaram and shown his teeth, tried to run away, but the furious Lord quickly seized him on his 10th step and knocked out all his teeth.
Yeah, so I thought I had a picture, but somehow the picture is gone. But that's okay. So the teeth, you can think of boxing as well, right? So sometimes, unfortunately, the teeth falls off. So you can think of Lord Balaram knocking out the teeth of the king of Kalinga when you see a picture of boxing or a video of boxing as well. Okay. Anyone else? Please. We are in the home stretch, so please jump and continue to read. Okay, whomsoever feels like.
Okay. Longest kick in the universe. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.24.27. When Ravana, the powerful demon, came to gain victory over Bali Maharaj, Vamadeva kicked him a distance of 80,000 miles, which has led to.
Yeah, so as I said, this is the soccer time. We have Copa America and European Cup, etc. So big long kicks are going on, and the American football will start, etc. So we can think of this, right? So here, Bali Maharaj, who's the gatekeeper of Vamanadev, kicked Ravana, it is said, like 80,000 miles, right? So he just went flying, right? So this is, again, we can think of, even from the sports, we can jumpstart into some of the pastimes of the Lord. Okay, so this is quickly I'm going to read. So Krishna likes to pull heavy things, right? So this is the Matsya avatar, which we see on the left-hand side. It's a great pastime in the 24th chapter of the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And, with all these herbs and living entities, the picture doesn't do justification of the actual pastime when we read it, but it was so heavy. And then Lord Krishna pulled it and traveled through the waters of devastation, right? And also we see these happens, for Guinness Book of Records, different people will try to, so in this case, what you see is there's a person who's tying, he's got almost like a shika, and he's tying a rope to the train, and he's pulling the train, right? So it's a 42-ton train. So some people have got this enormous capability or power, and it's all coming from Krishna. Of course, Krishna teaches us that is the the power and the intelligence, everything is coming from Lord Krishna as well. Okay, and longest jump, right? So we talked about this Krishna and Balaram jumping from the mountains. This is not like a long jump, but it's just a stretching where Lord Vamanadev is stretching. And, we can think of this even from sports, right? So long jump, you can think of this pastime of Vamanadev or Lord Krishna and Balaram jumping from top of the mountain. And Lord moves at the speed of mind and wind. So this is from the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Parshuram, it is said that he was working with the speed of mind and wind, right? So right now, if you think of Mauritius or Guyana or India, wherever we are from, when we think about it, our mind is there. So the mind speed is incalculable, right? So instantaneously, our mind can go to the place that we want our mind to go, and speed of mind. And then when Parshuram was little tired, it is said that he was moving at the speed of wind, right? Now, the speed of wind, the strongest or the maximum was registered at about 408 kilometers an hour, right? And that's nothing compared to the speed of mind at which Parshuram was working. So why we put this slide and this picture is that any of these pastimes are also sporting activities of Lord, not just Lord Krishna. Expansions of Lord Krishna. Balaram is an expansion of Lord Krishna. And even if there's some devastation, unfortunately, we cannot do much. And when we're thinking of these heavy winds and tornadoes, we can think, not a great way, but we can gravitate towards thinking of Lord Parshuram because he was moving at the speed of mind and then later on at the speed of wind. Okay. So that comes, we're almost at the top of the hour, perfect timing. So I would like to always summarize it, as you know, just to make sure that we all, got something out of what we wanted to present today. Hopefully you found it useful, where you can think of Lord Krishna based on even the normal or day-to-day or mundane activities that we see around us, right? So instead of being angry at something or somebody watching TV or some sports, we can think of, from here, I can think of Lord Krishna. So even material things can be used for us to become spiritualized, and that's what Lord Krishna teaches us in Bhagavad Gita 7, 9, 10, and 15 chapter. He talks about all the things that are in this material world, where we can think of the unknown through the known. Okay, with that, I would like to open it up for devotees to match the following. So when you go to Wonderland or you see anything, in Florida, these massive rides, so what pastime can you think of? Anybody? All of you can unmute yourself if there's no background noise, and there is no right or wrong answer, right? So it's a good try, it's a wrong answer.
Trinavrta pastime.
Everybody agrees? Wonderland rides because he likes to go up and down. Yes? Anyone else can second that? Deemita is all alone in his answer.
Yes, true.
Okay. Yes, that's right. So we can think, again, this is not like one-to-one and that this is the only way, right? We can think of Lord Trinavarta's pastime in many different ways. He was so light, then he became very heavy. Even when we, because Mother Yasoda was keeping Lord Krishna in her lap, and suddenly he started becoming heavier, and then she had to put Krishna down, and that's when then he became light again, Trinavarta. So whenever we even lift anything heavy, we can think of Trinavarta's pastime. So there are many ways for us to remember Lord Krishna's pastimes, and this attempt is a humble attempt with some specific examples, but you can expand. Okay, anybody else for the second one? When you see water skating,
catching the tail of calf, that is second. Water skating, catching the tail of calf and sliding.
Yeah, everybody agrees?
Yes.
Yeah, water skating, if you remember, there was a boat and there was a small video that I put where there was connected to this person who's sliding on top of the water. Yeah, catching the tail of the calf and sliding is Krishna's pastime. When we see water skating, we can think of that. Okay, anyone else who didn't answer, we'll try to hear from more devotees. Number 3?
Aristasura pastime.
Yeah, so bull fighting or matador is Aristasura pastime, as well as there's a pastime where Lord Krishna, before he married Nagnajiti, he had to tame these 7 powerful, uncontrollable bulls. Krishna can control anything, right, including our mind, as we know. So he controlled this and he married Nagnajiti. Anyone else would like to attempt to answer?
Jumping from Pravarsana mountain. Skydiving, jumping from Pravarsana mountain.
Yes, very good. So that's when Balaram and Krishna jumped from this Pravarsana mountain, which was very high mountain. Very good. So anyone else would like to answer number 5?
Srimati is here.
Oh, Mother Srimati, thank you for joining. Sorry, we forgot about you.
I know, eh? So wrestling is killing Kamsa and others in the wrestling arena.
Beautiful. Nothing but the right answer. Yeah, killing Kamsa and others in the wrestling arena. So we may watch this WWF in Olympics wrestling or WWF. You know, naturally we can gravitate towards Krishna's pastime. Okay, number 6. Anyone else?
Prabhu, Padmakshi Radhika here. Hammer
Yes,
throw
Mother.
is Dhenukasura donkey pastime.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Very good. Thank you for answering that correctly. Hammer throw is, you can think of Dhenukasura or as a demon pastime. Fantastic. And we will leave number 9 to Tirnithai because that's the commitment that we have. The difficult answer he will give in the very last time.
Because he's so intelligent and genius.
So the last will always be reserved for Tirnithai. Okay, number 7. Oh, sorry.
Cricket.
Yeah.
Cricket, baseball, Balaram smashing stones with club.
Yeah, so we can trigger, that will trigger that, right? So even a game like cricket and baseball, hitting sixer or hitting a home run, Balaram Balaram smashing the stones that Vivida was throwing with his club, right? Okay, number 8, penultimate question, soccer and American football.
Yeah, today is the final.
Yeah, yesterday was also the finals in Copa America, Brazil versus Argentina, and Argentina won. Okay, so still you can think of Italy versus England. Yeah,
in Italy.
Yeah. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on this. Okay, number 8.
Yeah, I'm just remembering Krishna.
That's good. You're remembering the sports from Krishna. It should be the other way around. Okay. Number 8. Anybody?
Ravana kicked 80 miles away.
Yeah, 80,000 miles away.
80,000.
Yeah, soccer, American football, we can think of that. Again, I don't want, I hope all of you are thinking, taking this in a positive way as a way to remember Lord Krishna through even mundane activities. And, this is a different way to understand Lord Krishna. Okay, Dear Nitai Prabhu, exclusively for.
Oh my God, finally my turn. Oh,
yeah. And we made it so easy, we put it in the same line as well. There's no crisscross, you see?
And also it's coming and punching, yes?
Yeah. So it's made it very easy for you. Okay, boxing is Balaram punching Vivida.
Vivida, king of Kalinga also.
It's 2 pastimes, right? Vivida is not the king of Kalinga, but king of Kalinga.
No.
2 different pastimes we can think. And we can connect each one of those normal activities to multiple pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam. So anyway, so as I said, this is a humble attempt. I've been developing this, making it better and better. So we can remember Lord Krishna even through normal mundane activities.
So it's a nice way of engaging devotees as well as non-devotees in these pastimes. So it It is practical. So,
yeah, it's practical, and we are all in this material world. Every day we have to drive the car, look around, and all these things are happening, right? Like there is Wonderland, there is bull and skydiving, wrestling, hammer throw, cricket. We can't be away from it. But how we can be in this world, but at the same time think of Lord Krishna more frequently, not just within the four walls of our altar, or not during the Sunday feast programs in the temple, but we can think of Lord Krishna even during day-to-day activities. Again, it's not one-to-one, and this is not be-all, end-all, or etched in stone. You can think of this. This is just to pave the way. We're just giving a template for you to come up with something like this for your own benefit and remembrance of Lord Krishna more and more. Okay? So that's all we had.
Krishna, Prabhu, one quick question, if you can allow me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ravana kicked, Ravana's pastime, Prabhu, is in Treta Yuga, whereas he's being kicked by Vamana Dev, but that is in another Yuga, right, Prabhu? So how does Ravana come in play, if you can just very quickly?
So Ravana is in Treta Yuga, and Vamana Dev is in Treta Yuga as well. Both of them are in Treta Yuga, but I'm just going to take something beyond what you just asked. Now, there are many other pastimes where there are great personalities living through many other yugas as well. Parshuram is an example, right? Parshuram lived Parshuram lived until Dwapara Yuga, right? We know the pastime of Parshuram in Dwapara Yuga, even though he's from Treta Yuga. Jambavan is from Lord Rama's time, and then we have this Shamantaka jewel pastime. We covered that during Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, right? So these great Hanuman lived from Treta Yuga all the way up to Dwapara Yuga, because we know how Bhima was trying to cross him and he could not lift his tail, etc. And Hanuman had a pastime with Arjuna as well, right, to cross the bridge. And so there are great personalities who lived through other yugas as well. But in this case, in the question that you asked, it is both from Treta Yuga, but Treta Yuga itself is so long and big, right? So it's a good question. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything would you like to share, or what do you think of something like this? Can we expect something from all of you to do something like this and have it so that you can remember some of these pastimes? Any thoughts, comments, concerns?
It is Anand, my realization is that we are part and parcel of the Lord. We are created by the Lord. We also have that same qualities as the Lord, so it's like Achintya Beda Beda, yes. So
good point. We are infinitesimal and Lord is infinite, but we are part and parcel, as Prabhupada keeps on saying, taught us again and again, that we are a drop of the ocean water. Still we have that salty taste, but nothing compared to the whole ocean, which is full of salty water there, right? Tiny spark of fire versus big fire, right? So still the simultaneously one and different. So that's why we have the liking, what we normally do. So this catching, running and catching and all those, it's not just restricted to India, right? Like you go to Afghanistan, you go to China, kids play the same thing, right? So it's all coming from Krishna. So as you rightly said, and as Prabhupada taught us in that Dvivida pastime, cricket, right? That's what was the inspiration to put something like this, because this bat and ball game started from Dvivida's pastime, right? So we have that urge and, following in the footsteps, you can say, to an extent, even though not everybody scripturally or spiritually following it, but still our interests are stemming from Lord Krishna's, what Lord Krishna and Balaram did during their pastimes on this earth.
And also the Acharyas, the great Acharyas, they followed the path of the Krishna, like Srila Prabhupada was dancing and all,
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, and what Srila Prabhupada has given us is exactly, what Krishna was doing. Yeah, you rightly said, playing the musical instruments, singing and dancing and honoring prasadam with a group of devotees, right? So it's not in different islands, each devotee is sitting, all of us sit together and we honor the prasadam. Yeah, so our acharyas teach us the same thing, right? Let's follow what Lord Krishna and Balaram and his associates did. So we are trying to, I won't say replicate it, but following in the footsteps. Good point, Prabhu. Okay, so thank you, Prabhus and mothers. We really appreciate your valuable participation and interactive participation. And
thank you very much, Prabhu.
Next weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And also, Anand,
Hare Krishna.
Also, Anand, one request that 23 years old boy got an accident and he died on the intersection of what is that, 401 and Shepherd and this thing. So yesterday we went to the funeral of Pushpa mother's son-in-law, and there is not a single place for parking. All youngsters were there. So why don't we chant this poor guy, for Hare Krishna mantra from this great Vaishnavas here.
Yeah, so we'll chant one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra sincerely. Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
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 Srila Prabhupada
Hare
ki jai.
Jai.
Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hare
Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhu. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Prabhu.
day. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.